The current literary establishment functions as a digital filter for erasure, systematically stripping the national literary scene of its radical, black-led heritage. You recognize this cultural thinning every time an algorithm suggests a book that ignores the weight of our collective struggle. It's exhausting to search for substance and find only mass-market noise that fails to acknowledge our connection to the resistance in Palestine, Sudan, and Iran. You deserve a collection that reflects the grit of historical movements and the vision of a new Black Wall Street. I'm here to offer a different path. As the architect of this movement, I've designed a strategy to help you master the landscape of America's literary world, from its 1920s historical roots to the secure digital sanctuaries of 2026. You'll learn how to build a curated library that functions as a blueprint for intellectual excellence and economic power. We'll examine the specific tools needed to safeguard our narratives against systemic erasure while fostering a culture of revolutionary thought. This guide provides the framework for your intellectual sovereignty and the preservation of our future. Chicago doesn't produce literature, it constructs it. The city's identity is forged in the furnace of social realism, intellectual defiance, and a refusal to look away from the grit of the human condition. This Chicago style isn't a mere aesthetic choice, it's a strategic response to the environment. The 2026 Chicago literary scene stands as a testament to this enduring legacy. Acting as a critical front in the ongoing fight against systemic erasure, we view the city not as a backdrop, but as a living character that demands revolutionary prose. Understanding Chicago's literary history requires more than a casual glance at a bibliography. It demands a study of resistance. Figures like Nelson Algren and Gwendolyn Brooks didn't just write poems and novels. They drafted blueprints for survival. Their work remains a mandatory study for the Black Shares audience, linking the struggle for visibility on the South Side to the global cries for justice in Palestine, Sudan, and Iran. The history of this city is a map for our future, not a relic of the past. The American Writers' Museum serves as a national sanctuary, bridging the gap between physical archives and digital discovery. It provides the intellectual capital necessary to sustain a movement. Similarly, the Poetry Foundation exemplifies aesthetic harmony, where architectural precision meets literary fire. These institutions aren't just buildings, they're the ark of our collective knowledge, preserving the excellence required to combat the dilution of our narratives through rigorous archival excellence. By 2026, the Chicago literary scene has transitioned into a new phase of digital sovereignty. We don't just publish, we archive as a defense mechanism. Digital archiving is now a mandatory shield against the erasure of Black intellectual thought. Hybrid literary spaces have emerged across the city, prioritizing deep intellectual engagement over the hollow trends of mass market consumption. These spaces function like a modern Black Wall Street for the mind. The architect, Raheem Muhammad, envisions a landscape where our stories are both the foundation and the fortress. We're building a reality where the word is the ultimate tool for liberation. Independent bookstores are the anchor tenants of intellectual neighborhoods. They don't just sell paper and ink, they provide the physical infrastructure for the 2026 Chicago literary scene. These spaces function as modern sanctuaries where deep, uninterrupted thought is prioritized over the frantic pace of the digital void. The architect identifies these hubs as critical sites for reclaiming the narrative of the Black Shares audience. They are tactical centers designed to protect the mind from the noise of systemic erasure. Women and Children First in Andersonville has maintained a legacy of advocacy since 1979. It remains a fortress for curated feminist literature and queer theory. In Pilsen Community Books operates as a worker-owned collective. They explicitly link the printed word to social consciousness and global liberation movements. Their shelves reflect a commitment to the struggles in Palestine, Sudan, and Iran. The Wicker Park Corridor functions as the city's most bookish intellectual artery. It connects high-end aesthetics with revolutionary thought. The Chicago literary scene thrives on this localized resistance. This approach transforms a simple transaction into a strategic maneuver. By supporting these hubs, we build the foundation for a self-sustaining cultural ecosystem. You can explore how we integrate these principles into our strategic cultural blueprint to ensure our history remains a map for the future. We don't just build libraries, we build the vessels for revolution. History is not a past event, it's the architecture of what we build next. Chicago's soil birthed the Poetry Slam. Mark Smith's 1986 debut at the Green Mill wasn't a game, it was a reclamation of the oral tradition. In the 2026 Chicago literary scene, This legacy serves as a strategic weapon. Performance has evolved. It's no longer just a reading. It's a high-production art form designed for the activist reader who demands more than metaphors. These stages foster communal harmony and intellectual exchange, turning individual grievances into collective power. We don't perform for applause. We perform for liberation. The Chicago stage connects directly to the martyrs and survivors in Palestine, Sudan, and Iran. We don't just read about global struggles, we amplify them. Raheem Muhammad, the architect of the Ark Project, views these performances as essential components of our economic and cultural blueprint. When a poet speaks, they're building a bridge between the South Side and Khartoum. This is the Chicago literary scene in its most potent form, a refusal to be silenced by systemic erasure. History is our blueprint, and the microphone is our tool for construction. The Uptown Poetry Slam remains a site of resistance against the gentrification of the mind. It maintains the raw energy of 1986 while integrating 2026 technology to broadcast truths globally. Tuesday Funk and Outspoken provides sophisticated storytelling that centers diverse voices, proving our narratives aren't monoliths. These series now influence the national conversation on economic sovereignty. Poets are articulating the blueprint for Black Wall Street, moving beyond protest into the realm of structural ownership and collective wealth. Book clubs in 2026 have transitioned into modern salons for revolutionary intellectual exchange. They aren't passive hobby groups, they're tactical units. These gatherings focus on the structure of our liberation. You can join these circles through neighborhood grassroots networks or encrypted digital forums that prioritize privacy and intellectual safety. This shift has spiked the demand for high-quality ebooks and print editions by 22% since 2024. Readers want physical copies that survive the digital purge. They want literature that functions as a manual for the new world we're building. We're creating a Bárka for the mind, ensuring our intellectual assets are protected from the chaos of the outside world. Critics often argue that the shift toward pixels erodes the soul of the Chicago literary scene. They're wrong. Digital consumption doesn't devalue the work, it weaponizes it. For the modern professional, the choice between an e-book and a physical copy isn't a debate over nostalgia, it's a strategic decision. A digital library allows for the precise organization of knowledge. It ensures that revolutionary blueprints are accessible at the exact moment of execution. This isn't just reading, it's data management for the liberation of the mind. We organize our digital files with the same care a master architect applies to a floor plan. The architect Raheem Muhammad views these digital platforms as the modern extensions of Black Wall Street. By 2026, the reach of Chicago's most defiant authors has transcended city limits to impact a national audience. We don't just consume content, we curate an aesthetic of intellectual dominance. Our digital libraries reflect a premium activist lifestyle that refuses to be erased by traditional publishing gatekeepers. This digital sovereignty allows the Chicago literary scene to flourish without asking for permission from legacy institutions that have historically ignored our brilliance. The buy local movement has evolved into something more potent. In 2026, we practice buy sovereign digital. This shift ensures that our economic power stays within our ecosystem. We demand transparency in digital book distribution to prevent the systemic erasure of revolutionary voices. By utilizing diverse digital formats, we guarantee the longevity of our history. We're building a digital Bárka of knowledge that no algorithm can sync. This is the blueprint for a future where our stories are owned by us, for us. We're creating order from the chaos of the internet, ensuring our intellectual property remains a secure asset for the Blackshares audience. The Ark Project serves as your national gateway to the Chicago literary scene. We don't just sell books, we curate intellectual armories. Under the vision of Raheem Muhammad, known as the architect, every volume is treated as an architectural piece of intellectual beauty. This isn't a hobby, it's the construction of a mental fortress. The selection we offer mirrors the grit and elegance of the revolutionary tradition. It's a direct response to systemic erasure. We build where they tried to burn. Achieving turnkey tranquility requires more than just furniture. It requires a perfectly curated home or digital library that reflects your soul and your struggle. We provide the blueprint for this harmony. Our mission aligns with the economic spirit of Black Wall Street. We see the struggle for liberation in Chicago as inseparable from the resistance in Palestine, Sudan, and Iran. Your library should be a map of global solidarity. History isn't a past event, it's a strategic blueprint for the future of the Black Shares audience. Our collection spans the full spectrum of the Chicago literary scene. We house the foundational works of Gwendolyn Brooks, whose 1950 Pulitzer win remains a pillar of our heritage. We also champion rising stars in historical fiction who document our survival. The architect chooses titles that resonate specifically with the Black Shares audience. Every book must serve a purpose. Every page must contribute to the collective consciousness. We don't stock fluff, we stock fire. We utilize the pseudonym Kareem Parker for spiritual and romance fiction. This is a specific literary tool used by the architect to explore the depths of human connection and faith. Kareem Parker isn't the leader of this movement. He's a channel for the softer yet equally revolutionary frequencies of our experience. This ensures that the intellectual rigor of the movement remains balanced with spiritual and emotional health. It's about a complete human experience. Ordering with the Art Project is a professional, seamless process. We've eliminated the friction often found in independent distribution. You receive a curated experience from the moment you browse to the moment you open your first page. This is the implementation of order over chaos. It's the realization of a vision that values your time and your intellect. We treat your library with the same precision a general contractor treats a foundation. Select your works from our curated categories of resistance and beauty. Experience a secure, streamlined checkout designed for the modern professional. Receive your collection packaged with the precision of a master builder. We're not just selling products. We're building a legacy of self-reliance and intellectual dominance. Stop settling for a fragmented library. It's time to build a sanctuary that honors your history and prepares you for the future. Your collection is your legacy. Build it with intention. The 2026 Chicago literary scene stands as a testament to intellectual sovereignty, moving beyond mere survival into a period of strategic expansion. We don't just consume stories, we build the infrastructure that protects them from systemic erasure. Raheem Muhammad, the architect and economic strategist of this movement, has mapped a blueprint that mirrors the resilience of Black Wall Street, ensuring our cultural capital remains within our own hands. This isn't just about books, it's about global solidarity with the resistance in Palestine, Sudan, and Iran, using the written word as a weapon against silence. We've replaced the chaos of digital algorithms with curated sanctuaries that honor our history as a strategic guide for the future. The ARC Project LLC provides the national platform for this transition, offering a comprehensive catalog of print, digital, and e-book formats designed for the modern revolutionary. The time for passive readership has ended. Secure your place in this intellectual lineage and claim your sovereignty today. Discover your next favorite read in our curated collection at the ARC Project. Your journey toward intellectual freedom begins with a single, intentional selection.